33. Now all the boys I've loved are married off, ensconced. They bide in milky, clean-hewn terraces, in replicated seaside towns. They wear matched socks, they wash, they see their own father's chins and petulance, the kindnesses and ticks grow strong and coarse in them, and this is comfort. They lullaby their round-faced wives in lusty, baritone newsreader voices. Pour me a slug of this late August clarity of light, the contrast turned up high, blunt as bone, acerbic as our windfall apples. The gardens overrun with teetering foxgloves, soup tins, cigarette ends, broken televisions, luscious, hoary, interloping weeds. A fat fox grazes the rubbish sacks, cars lope, tacit, by the curb. I hold my breath in tightly and bless the motoring whish, whish of my pulse. On TV, the newsreader speaks of riots. His voice is muffled pips and swells, is someone underwater. Okay, so this is a poem in which I imagine how humans might be described when they're extinct. Animal Song 1. Adults had sparse hair on their bodies, except for thick shocks at the scalp, underarm and pubic bone. They measured, on average, 1.65 metres tall. They walked steady on their hind legs, like startled bears. They spent their lives on land, worked out their days to the sea's slackening beat. They were cosseted by stores of insulating body fat and by scale-like or feather-like armour. They hunted, insatiate, in packs. They huddled in groups or hived in pods of silicon, lime and stone. At night, they covered their eyes to plumb their own neural playback, experiment with impulse and response, observe the shadow play of electrical storms. At night, they met to breed, dived, subaqueous inside each other's skins. They choreographed aerobic dances. Fossil remains of humanoid bodies discovered in East Africa are 350,000 years old. They apportioned worth, the value of time, matter or bodies, in terms of potential exchange. They killed with an iron tool, a blow to the back of the head, a mechanised procession, poison, detonation, a slow privation. I wrote a series of dictionary definition poems which use the form of the dictionary definition, and they're all definitions of different kinds of animals, different animals. And this one is stray dog. Stray dog, noun, plural, stray dogs. 1. A tight-ribbed canid, its belly a skin drum. In packs they scrum through railings and wall cracks. In the wild state, slender-muzzled, ears cocked and noses honed to bolt. In alleys and silos they snuffle for milk and meat. Though they're dry-nosed, their olfactory receptors brim, cacophonies of sweetbreads, cinnamon, piss-tang, petrol, shades of hops and turpentine, delirium. 2. Dog is the root of his Zen philosophy, he says. A dog only is and does. Dog has no knotting gut, no slackening jaw at the price of fish, the fallout, our institutional implosions. Dog has no piquant sense of doom, but lives in simple verbs. He wears his dog suit after work to watch the TV news. It's an all-in-one of teddy fur, sleek and moist with age, dabbed with tobacco and brown. He says, our bodies are given life from the midst of nothingness. I come home early, find him rootling through our bins, muzzle first, on all fours. 3. Any street-sharp carnivore, any creature having canine teeth, a flea haven, haunter of parks, snarler of brute snarls, gleeful snouter of rumps. The stray dog melds with the harbouring dark, camouflaged as lamppost or wheel hub. He or she scarpers, slides under the night wind's silvered edge. So this poem is written in the form of footnotes to a kind of imagined, non-existent telephone conversation. So it's laid out on the page as footnotes. Footnotes to a long-distance telephone call. 1. I am calling from people like us and, of course, from girls like you. I'm calling from the space we'll call my body, 5'9" and 144 pounds, beige skin, 25 teeth, short sight in one eye, heritage, Nottinghamshire, Leicestershire, Staffordshire, Norfolk, Taff Valley, shopkeeper, farmhand, forester, gardener, prison officer, market trader, typist, scullery maid, cook, wife, teacher, lecturer, Londoner. I'm calling from lucky, from the pillowy flake of butter croissants, and also from porridge with water and salt. I'm calling from, when I was your age, he says, we washed our hair once a week in a tin bath in front of the fire with coal tar soap. 2. I'm calling from boiled egg and toast soldiers, tin peaches in front of the gas fire, bottle-warmed sheets, indoor breath pluming. Wellies stomped then pulled off just in out of the snow, brittle rubber, yellow salt, sweat from feet in 3 pairs of socks, toes gone numb, the smell of something damp, medicinal, school cloakroom Savlon twang. I'm calling from paper aeroplanes, camphor boats, moth traps and microscopes, lesson plans, lecture notes, marking fanned out on the living room table. And even from 94, the beach at Mouette, chocolate beignet in hand, about to head back to the sea's balmy salt blue slump. 3. I'm speaking always from lurched footing, from falling. On Bensham Road, Kerry Wilson, 14, topples from her 8-inch platform heels and splatters down in the gutter. While she sobs and snots, mashed and red-faced, we push, shoulder and haul her up to her balancing act onto those stilts. We haul her back to herself. I'm calling from the careers woman smiles her best nurse smile for us, and people think being a vet is just looking after cute animals, but actually it's very, very difficult. Have you thought about maybe working as a receptionist? When I say I'd like to travel, the school careers software suggests lorry driver, which is radical for girls in 1992, but I'm thinking more like portrait painter, teacher, writer. When Tanika and Michelle do amyl nitrate in double science, I think it's something they've made in a chemistry experiment. So many worlds, so many wonders. The boys at the youth club, bear hugs, strong arming our breasts, our breath. I'm calling from the school art room, the sour dust of pencil shavings. Mr. Wellaby's sketches of his best girls are pinned up like laundry, sharp chins, school ties, waterfall hair. Dirty, he called us girls when he left, diseased. 4. Calling, see speaking aloud, my Radio 4 voice. Just a minute, gardener's question time, theme tune to the Archers. The sound of post-war, sound of well-spoken and also welfare state, of people like us. See also muffled words, never a word. Because he doesn't like her to read, back before I am even a soot speck or a single seed, Gran buries her novels safe and deep in the laundry before he gets home. The Big Sky, The Way West, the Oxbow incident, cowboys, giant horizons. I'm calling from nowhere but the blank page, horizon, all the wild blue distance. Well, yes, and damson is its own pixel of sunlight, she says, distracted. And when you can no longer conjure up that odour, petrol, sunscreen, sand, the damson fruit will spill that old times flavour, bring oil and plump to your winded bones. Pistons and bones. I remember my mother explaining very practically how she thought shock therapy worked. Electric current recalibrating the skewed chemistry of the brain. I sat in the back garden and imagined electrons like vitamin C powder in a sphere of water, fizzing into an orange flush. In one of the photographs, my grandfather's skin is pillowy and buoyant. He is 12 years old, gaze turned inward, standing next to his brothers, who are stiff in their well-worn army uniforms. In the other photograph, he is Herculean and broad-chested. His suit struggles to contain him. My mother is getting married. He was never got right by the old regimes. He was never got right by the shared clothes, the Gideon Bible. Most visitors regarded him, he said, the way a cow would look at you. On a bad day, my mother said, her father would calmly announce after dinner that he was going to stand in the road and wait for something to run him over. On a bad day, she said, he would bolt out of the house and away, taking his clothes off as he went and leaving little fabric puddles in his wake. His children would run out, scooping up those familiar garments and forging on after him. On a bad day, my mother said, he would bolt out of the house and away. Was it freedom to loose himself first from his house and then from his jacket, shirt and shoes, sloughing himself out of his everyday life? I have sometimes imagined him keeping going, peeling off his pale, broad Nottingham skin to dump it lightly in the gutter. And then the knots of his muscles, and then the twiggish veins, his pistons and bones, and then his pulse, the ghost of all that momentum, hovering inert like a jellyfish before expiring into the Tuesday morning air. This poem uses a lot of found material from magazine and newspaper articles about how to deal with being 40. When glamorous women make age-appropriate dressing statements. When I turned 40, I became my father. He'd lean in, wrinkle his forehead, or cock his head like a curious dog. No pressure then to go clubbing at 10 p.m. or stay out drinking till dawn. I tamed the inner critic in my head, the one with the cattle prod, the catapulta. I can still drink alcohol until it flows from my eye sockets. My head careens and my hangovers are biblical. I refuse to buy anything that needs dry cleaning or even ironing. These days, bossy is gets shit done. Shy is a good listener. It's all about how you use it. I wonder now if I'm less Carrie Bradshaw, more Sue Pollard. I cry often at game show wins, song lyrics, the milky slump of a child's dropped ice cream cone. Now, no is a complete sentence, and the unwashed look is always a runner. The experts say, wear silver shoes, or gold, just a bit of ooh and not quite so boring then. The experts say, LAPD, Bono, Billy Idol, these are all looks to avoid, as is Tony Blair in some very hot countries wearing white linen. Death has become a preoccupation. This is in some ways a positive thing. There's still time to think, experiment, fail brilliantly. There is always a plan B, which doesn't mean boozing till I get the blues. This is my weekend. The experts say, avoid pie crust collars, hair bows, bows on shoes, anything Di would have worn, yet. perk it up, splashy earrings, popcorn highlights. What is the opposite of perk? The narrow road to the deep north, which is actually liberating and oh so wise. I'm no longer afflicted by the blind optimism of youth, but I can still laugh at myself, dance like it's Snapchat, rock my own style. It's my weekend. I'll take it, take it. So this poem is my attempt at a ghazal, and it's a lullaby. Wayfarer. Though I'm a dog-eared page and tired and the day stank, I'll sing your lullaby. I'll lift up the croak and rattle of my voice to bring your lullaby. Although you don't need a voice these days to find your wooded sleep, you ask, so here's a basket of rushes, mossy bank, a wayfinder string, your lullaby. Beyond your window, trees gripe winded and the air glowers gunmetal, while sparrows fret and the sky creaks shut its velvet hinge, your lullaby. Strong as my body, sure as true north, this hushed little rockabye. Though storms may burn, glaciers rip, and the cold rain lash and sting, your lullaby. This room's an arc of amber light, plush animals, plastic gimcrack, fidget of milk-tooth thread. Breathe melody's current, the watery tug and swing, your lullaby. Shuck off the day's brass band and Kodachrome, the BPM, your monkey jig. Let sleep tarry your mind's machine, every cog of it, every pin, your lullaby. Let my song then, Kate's voice-forged rowing boat, or cradle, or loaded gun, keep you, carry you, safe to sleep's threshold and far, far on, your lullaby. So this is a poem I wrote after President Trump was elected, and kind of came out of a series of nightmares. Catalogue of strange fish. From the unfathomed, farthest away from the light, from the sea's iron guardedness they come. Pin-eyed with flesh like tree bark, their jaws are gorgeously spiked, ragged with toothpick teeth, goon teeth, prism bar teeth. O anglerfish, vampire fish, oarfish, goonch. A strange fish holds himself upright and fast to the park railings. He is white-knuckled, his eyes focus upwards as if counting or reciting, tugging at the brain's stubborn pinions. When you ask if there's somewhere he needs to get to, he only sets his jaw harder. You both know that if he acknowledges you, he'll fall. Every one of your dreams is about the president, however tangentially. Every morning, pre-waking, mucid insects seem to attach themselves to your collarbone and gnaw in at the marrow. What if we could all say whatever came first to mind whenever we wanted to? No perusal, scullion, arsewipe, warp-faced pignut, invincible as a body that's snug in the womb. What if we could all get whatever we wanted, whenever, as in the fairy tale? On the beach at Marazion, the surf is spangled with mackerel scales. The sands heave with stranded bodies, silver bullets drying and curling up in the winter light, so close to home. Okay, this poem I wrote kind of as a response to a poem that we studied in secondary school, which is called The Seduction by Eileen Macaulay. And this poem is called Lullaby Girl. Flower baby, dough baby, square sack, canvas, sewing machine stitched, moon face, no face, dumpy, dinted, the sack sits tight, sweaty against your polycotton thin white shirt, chubby squat school tie, long tail tucked in against your chest. This is what it's like. Heavy sack, sleeps in a cardboard box under your bed. Think back to your doll, Dad in the Argos queue. You wanted water sloshed in its pink belly, squeezed from between its pink legs, shaken from blue painted-on eyes. Hinged lids, not £2 flour bag in your skinny arms. You sing hush, hush in your head at the bus stop, corner shop. You could not bring yourself to look last year at Charlie Ward's newborn, pudgy clay, animal rumpled eyes, still oblivious in the pram, though your classmates crowded over its sky made the right ooh sound. In your head, it was animated doll. You're still slight, gristle-breasted, nowhere near woman. Miss Huegos said, ask yourself, what care is needed by the flower baby? Who is with the flower baby? Where is the flower baby? Snug in the bottom drawer under your magazines. If there were boys at school, you'd be at it non-stop, Miss McClure says. Limbs jumble, snog spittle, open mouth, never learning, all hunger and dumbness. Shan disappears, takes her tight belly oval swells with her. Mr. Wojcik sings Too Much Too Young over and over. You hear Kelly before her trial is trying for a baby. Easy, easy baby, a beautiful shackle, or like a ticket out of somewhere, maybe. Rope ladder to cling, to dig fingernails in something mine. Hot, hot, shame and shameless, big-bodied, I made this. In the first poem you studied in years, it's called Despicable, this girl motherhood state, called feminine, void. I think I'd been angry for a long time about the way we were taught this particular poem in school, which was very much as a kind of anti-teenage pregnancy propaganda rather than as a poem. But I also didn't particularly like the poem, or Eileen Macaulay's The Seduction, which isn't a terrible poem, so I'm probably being unfair, but I think it was the context. So I think I was thinking back to particular memories, and I wanted that kind of sense of memory, kind of that was quite kind of halting and fractured. So there are these spaces between these little bits of memory on the page. Yeah. So I mean, I think I probably wrote this in lots of little notes that I kind of pieced together in a sort of fragmented jigsaw way, and I wanted to keep that sense when I put it on the page. So there are lots of gaps between the words and between the sections. Postscript. What if love's not well-tooled keys and locks, glass slippers or mutilated feet? What if love's like tracing a silhouette in a pea souper, or like watching Polaroid paper etch itself with shades? In the slow furrow of the night shift hours, when workers, returning or leaving, bruise at the edges, nod themselves back into sleep, love might keep stumm, might speak in whiskers and bristles, jowls, spiny hair, and awesome stink. Oh, my godmother, for a woman to play low-stakes poker with her friends is not, in my view, the least bit shocking. Neither are these things call for alarm, excessive literature consumption, making the first move. We have fallen asleep on the back step, chins in claws, feet tucked snug, while the universe is bearing down its icy helmet of stars. He shifts and settles again, cranking out snore and purr, dreaming acetate reels. How is it September already? I go inside. I leave the kitchen door adrift.
got to say, I love that. I leave the kitchen door adrift